So I'm adding a dust collector in between this dust collector. So then this will collect the dust rather than clogging up my filters. Because if you've ever cleaned one of those Scat Blast commercial dust collectors, those 6 filters, it's definitely leaves something to be desired. So I pulled this out, and it comes with a nice little wrench to tighten on the casters. They're pretty smooth all the way around, so I don't have too many complaints about that. The handle requires a Phillips screwdriver, and the can itself has 2 holes here that are threaded. These 2 bad boys went in pretty nice. Next, we install the bag, and its instructions say not to cover the latches. Next, we put on the drum cover and cone and install the screws. And this is where some things kind of fall apart in my book, is that it tells you to place foam gasket, which is this straight piece around a circle, and these have no holes in there, so we're going to go ahead and try using a heat gun. See how that works. So with the heat gun, I'm able to heat it up and then place it going around the circle, and that works. That's a pro tip, a diamond detail that's working out so much better than I thought it would. Heat gun all the way. Another diamond detail is you do about 4 to 6 inches. You'll warm them up, and then you can wrap it around the circumference to where this gasket is supposed to go. So I picked up this Wagner Furnace 750 a few days ago for doing stencils with Cerakote, but I have it set at 390, that fan speed, and it just takes a few seconds to get that foam malleable enough to wrap around the circumference of this cone. What I also like about this Wagner 750 is it has a cool down feature. You can leave it run, has a nice little setup, works perfect for this. And I guess I'll go ahead and show off the work. Did pretty good. Got a nice edge, you almost can't even tell. Or seam. Let's use the word seam on that. And then poked a hole with the knife in there. Probably some better tools like a drill bit, but I guess that'll work. Or we'll see if it works. Now that we got this bolted down, again, this comes in quite handy. This was long-winded tightened on there, so I had to loosen it all the way. And now we're assembling with this top component, also known as the housing. Stay tuned. And then I used a 7/32 drill because I'm going to be using mating this up with the 5-inch step. So I drilled around the circumference using a pair of snips to get in the between areas, and then this will pop right off, and then I'll use a handsaw to smooth out the edges, and that'll get that inlet ready. And when you snip it all, it looks something like this. I said to screw the saw, and then went with a file that had a curvature to it so that I can get around the high points there. And that worked a lot quicker and a lot easier. That's just a Harbor Freight file. I mean, this thing's kind of falling apart as you see, but it worked. Probably just need to heat up the handle, stick it in the plastic, and have it reseat, but that project is for another day. So now we'll go ahead and get this mounted up. There's one foam roll that has 2 short rolls in it, and one roll that has the long roll in it. And the long roll goes for the bottom, and there's 2 short rolls in the next roll, or 2 short pieces. One's for this top, and one's for this other outlet. And now we'll go ahead and install the second smaller short piece from that roll. This is the pull-in technique that I use when applying the foam. A little pro tip is there's a little bit of foam left over. It's definitely quite a bit thicker than those other 2 shorter pieces in that roll. I used on this flange, there was a leftover piece that was thicker and goes for about 8 inches or so. I use that here to fill a void because this cover was just a little bit too loose, and with that little extra piece, it's just right. So just doing a final video, kind of showing what I did to make the connection from the 5-inch hose coming out of the Scat Blast 1636 cabinet, because it runs a 5-inch hose. I use a 5-to-4 reducer, and I have a little 4-inch hose here to connect the 2 couplings. And then I use the 5-inch provided hose into the input, into the Scat Blast dust collector. And then I have an adapter here that connects from a 4-inch to a 5-inch, and then to an 8-inch out through the roof. And we'll go ahead and do a little plug-in for a demo. It's kind of nice here. You can pull this cap off, get your suction. And then now I got proof of concept. Now I'm going to get her cleaned up. Thanks for tuning in.